Yesterday we saw this massive move to the upside for Bitcoin, and in today's video we are going to be talking about everything you need to know for Bitcoin, because today is going to probably be one of the most important days of the year for Bitcoin. Because today, of course, we got the FOMC meeting in just 8 hours, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys everything you need to know to prepare yourself for this FOMC meeting, because we are going to get crazy volatility. Now the first thing I just quickly wanted to show you is right now that Bitcoin is still struggling to break this massive area of resistance right here. Yesterday we saw yet again another move to the upside, and we did not break this area of resistance, and right now we are actually trying to create a red candle again. So are we going to push down lower again, or are we going to finally break this area of resistance? Well, it's all going to depend on the FOMC meeting, because the second we get the FOMC meeting we will see crazy amounts of volatility, and that will definitely finally break us out of this massive bear flag we are potentially creating right now. Either a massive move to the up or downside. So before I tell you guys exactly everything you need to know for the FOMC meeting, I just quickly wanted to say that if you want to buy or sell cryptocurrencies, I would recommend doing it over on Blovin. Blovin is the best crypto exchange out there right now. It's the biggest up and coming crypto exchange out there right now. You have so many coins you can trade with leverage. Literally every single coin you ever want to is over on this exchange. It's the best exchange out there. You don't need any ID verification, no VPN required at all. It's available in almost every country, so go check it out. I just deposited 10k, already made $400. It's the easiest and best platform ever to use, even for beginners. So yeah, go check it out. First link in the description below. You can right now get massive deposit and welcome bonuses if you use my link. That being said, let's just immediately get started with today's video. So yes, we got the FOMC meeting in 8 hours and 18 minutes from when I'm recording this. That is exactly right now at 7 p.m. UTC, and the Powell press conference is at 7:30 p.m. UTC. What can we expect? Well, right now there's an 89% chance that we are going to get a 25 basis point rate cut. I mean, it's pretty bullish, however it's not insanely bullish. If we do end up getting a 50 basis point rate cut, which is really unlikely, but there of course still is a chance, then the market will instantly send to 100k, because that will be absolutely insane. Now there's also a chance that we get no rate cut at all, and if that happens, then the markets instantly will be going to around 82k again, to this next area of support, because that will be extremely bullish. Bearish of course. I don't know what I'm saying. Bearish of course. And no rate cut at all will be really bearish. So we need to be really careful. But right now it's just almost guaranteed already that we are going to get a 25 basis point rate cut. And if that happens, yes, we are not really going to be seeing any major volatility. You're probably thinking, what do you mean? Why are we not going to get any major volatility if we get a 25 basis point rate cut? I thought it was really bullish. Well, it is really bullish. However, the markets have basically already priced it in. That's probably already why we saw a massive move to the upside yesterday, and that's why we have slowly been grinding to the upside. That most of the time is happening once we get an FOMC meeting. You see a little bit of a move to the upside, and from there we're going to be just waiting for the FOMC meeting and to see what's going to be happening. That's basically always what you see for an FOMC meeting. However, what can actually do create massive volatility for Bitcoin, what can finally break us out of this massive bear flag, is of course the speech that we're going to get 30 minutes after the rate cut decision. At 7:30 p.m. UTC we are of course going to get that Jerome Powell speech, and then we can exactly see what he thinks is going to be happening next for the markets, what he is expecting and what he will be doing. Are we getting hawkish Fed or a dovish Fed? The bullish scenario is of course that the Fed cut rates. That's always really bullish. Now secondly, if he talks about announcing liquidity injections, that will be really bullish. Furthermore, if he mentions that the labor market is weak, that could be really bullish as well, because then he could potentially be pointing towards even more rate cuts in the future, which will be really important. Now the bearish scenario is of course that the Fed cut rates. I mean, that could still be a bearish scenario. Furthermore, if he shows uncertainty about future rate cuts, that will be really bad for the markets, and that could potentially send Bitcoin down a lot. Now, furthermore, if he doesn't mention any bond buying and also admits that the inflation is still hot, that will be really, really bad, because that means that we're probably not going to get any future rate cuts, or at least for some time, for some of the couple FOMC meetings we're going to be getting, and that will be really, really boring and really bad for the markets, especially for risk assets such as Bitcoin, of course. So yeah, that is going to be extremely important. Of course, the Fed decision is going to be important already, the rate decision, but the Powell press conferences where Bitcoin most of the time really, really starts moving, and also the S&P. So yeah, the S&P is going to get greatly volatile once we get that FOMC meeting, and that could make Bitcoin even more volatile, because we right now know that Bitcoin basically always follows the S&P. If we look at this chart right here, then we can clearly see right now that in the last a couple of times that the markets have opened, we have only seen massive moves to the upside. Literally yesterday, the second the markets opened, we saw a massive move. Then Monday, the second the markets opened, we saw a massive crash. Then the second the futures market opened, on Sunday we saw a massive move. And also last week, we have only seen the markets reacting like crazy the second the stock market opens. So yeah, right now, once we get a press conference and the S&P starts moving, Bitcoin will start moving with it. Whatever going to be moving to the upper downside is greatly going to be influenced, of course, by Jerome Powell and whatever he is going to be saying. And that could finally send Bitcoin above or to this massive area below here again. So yeah, what is most likely going to be happening? Well, we just don't really know. It all depends on what Jerome Powell is going to be saying. However, I do have to admit right now that in the last 3 FOMC meetings, we have seen Bitcoin selling off after the FOMC meeting. And we have never seen more than two times this happening. This has literally been the first time ever we have seen 3 sell-offs after an FOMC meeting in a row. So if we get another sell-off in a row, that will be really, really bad. I mean, even in the last bull market and bear market, this did not even happen. We always saw move to the upside. So right now there is, in my opinion, a little bit of a chance that we are finally going to get a green FOMC meeting where Bitcoin just absolutely starts skyrocketing to the upside. And in my opinion, and what I have been telling you guys for the last couple of days and weeks, is exactly what I am thinking right now. I think that we are going to get a massive move to the upside here for Bitcoin in the shorter time frame. I think the second that we break this area of resistance, we are going to be flying towards 110k, and from there we have to see what we're going to be doing. Are we going to go even higher or are we going to go lower? I don't really know, but I do know right now that Bitcoin is heavily oversold. I mean, if we look at this chart, we can see that every single time Bitcoin goes down around 30%, most of the time we end up creating a bottom and going to the upside again. Right now we're already down more than 30%, so it will make sense that we are going to be seeing a bottom. Furthermore, the RSI is at one of the lowest levels ever since the last bear market. Also, the MACD was at one of the lowest levels and finally starting to spike up a little bit again. And we are also seeing this massive dead cross right now. And every single time we see that, it always ends up being a bottom for Bitcoin where we start reversing a little bit again. So yeah, Bitcoin, in my opinion, is just right now really oversold. And we have seen such a massive move to the upside, to the downside, that at some point you have to see a little bit of a rally to the upside before going lower again. Or of course even higher. We don't really know yet because we are still creating higher lows basically, which is bullish to see. So we are technically still in an uptrend. So that's why I think that potentially today at the FOMC meeting, we could finally get the catalyst that could send us above this massive area of resistance we have been retesting right now for the 3rd time in a row yesterday, and we're still not capable of breaking above it. So maybe today we are finally going to see it happening. It will be really bullish, and that will finally send us all the way to around 108 to 109k. And that will be really bullish. Now, if we get a really bearish FOMC meeting, yeah, then we are most likely going to be dumping all the way back down to around $82,000, which is of course this massive area of support. And from there, we have to see what's going to be happening. It's just all based on how good or how bad the FOMC meeting was, because it will definitely change the direction for Bitcoin here for the next couple of weeks, and maybe all the way till the next FOMC meeting. Who knows? But yeah, we could potentially make a little bit of a double bottom and then go up again. We don't really know yet. Maybe we go even lower to this next area of support all the way right here. We don't know yet, but yeah, in my opinion, Bitcoin is looking pretty bullish right now. But yeah, it just all really depends on the FOMC meeting, if we get a bullish FOMC meeting, we are finally going to be breaking to the upside of this massive bear flag right here. And if that happens, of course, the breakout target is going to be laying all the way at around 104k. Now, if we go to the downside, break to the downside, then that's going to be around 80k. And that's exactly where this massive area support is laying, around that level, which is pretty good to see. However, whatever direction we go, we just can't really predict it right now because of that FOMC meeting, which is just something we can't really predict. However, what we can predict is massive volatility. So be really careful if you are trading this right now, if you're trading the FOMC meeting, because if we simply go to 104k, which is perfectly the breakout target of the bear flag, we're going to see $9 billion in liquidations, which is just insane. However, if we drop just to around 80k, which is also the bear flag breakdown, then we're going to see $7 billion in liquidations. So it's perfectly lining up right now, this bear flag. It's really important, this bear flag. So we need to pay attention to this bear flag and to the FOMC meeting, and of course towards this chart, because if we finally break resistance, it's going to be so freaking bullish for Bitcoin. And that being said, that's everything I have for you guys in today's video. So make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out Blovin, first link in the description below. And that being said, I will check back with you guys tomorrow once the FOMC meeting happens to see what has happened and what we can expect next for Bitcoin. So that being said, I hope I'll see you guys in my next video.